Okay, let's get started with conference call regarding open houses. Many of you have asked me about some ways that we could generate and meet new potential clients. And doing open houses is one of those things that will be a lead generating activity for many of you if you do it right. We're going to talk tonight about how to build up the momentum, maybe give you some tips and tricks on what you should be bringing to the open houses to generate more traffic at your open houses, and ultimately make this a better lead generating opportunity or help you sell the home, or at a minimum, make your sellers appear that you're doing your job. One of those three things usually happens when the agents do attend this training. So we'll keep it brief. We'll end at 6 o'clock, but I do want to go over why we do it, how we're going to do it, and when we're going to start to do some of these things. I'm going to start with the end before I get to the beginning, because many of you, I run out of time and I really want to cover this part. I think where a lot of you are missing the mark is on your preparation. You have good intentions, you want to do a good open house, but you don't start early enough to do the marketing, to do the preparation before you start. So up on the screen, I have an open house checklist. If you guys don't have an account with breakthroughbroker.com, any of the title companies can get you access to some great material. This is a checklist that I found on breakthroughbroker.com that's really good. It kind of breaks down what you should do 7 days before the open house, 2 days before the open house, and then the day of the open house, to kind of give you an idea of what a top producer would do to do an effective open house. So let's just start with that, and then we'll go into what are some things that are top tips that agents have done, and maybe some top tricks from myself as well. But it starts from the preparation. So you should be sending some sort of announcement, whether it be a just listed postcard, an invitation postcard, maybe something in the mail, posting your house on social media. But about a week before the open house, many of you are doing it like a few days before the open house, and it actually helps if you do it 7 days before the open house. There is a lender that I know of who would actually, for helping you, they would actually do the call and invitation to about 100 neighbors. I have that name and number of a lender who's willing to do that for you. She's got a team of people that make those phone calls. When I've done that for another top producer, I know we had results. The problem is just like you, I run out of time and I don't actually have time to do the calling and invitation of 100 neighbors. That can drum up a lot of activity at an open house if done right. And find and book or arrange for, I'm always running around the day of. I need to kind of put this on my refrigerator to make sure that I have the food or the logistics of what I'm going to do as far as snacks. I have that already set up so that I'm not running around the day of scrambling, trying to find out what kind of, what am I going to go to, the grocery store to pick up some platters or go to Costco. I'm running around and I should not be doing that. I should have that already booked in advance. Mark the open house on the MLS and Zillow.com. So if you're not advertising the listing or having the seller advertise on Zillow that they're doing an open house, that is a missed opportunity. There are still a ton of consumers who go to Zillow.com looking for their open houses. If you're doing it on the open house portal through the MLS, it will go out to Redfin. It will go out to all of the syndicated websites as an open house. But too many of you miss the window. Like you go live on the market on Wednesday or Thursday. I'm guilty of it too. And then we post the open house on Friday, and sometimes those websites don't catch up or do not sync well. And then you don't get as much exposure as you could have if you would have given yourself more time. So my top recommendation tonight is if you've got an open house scheduled for this weekend, start today and creating the open house on Zillow, creating the open house on the MLS, sending out your invitations or your postcards, posting your open house on social media, calling those neighbors, doing those door knocking activities, finding out what kind of food you're going to bring. Those things should really be done today, at the latest tomorrow, getting that coordinated. So, I mean, a lot of times I'm seeing these requests, oh, I need somebody to host an open house, and it's last minute, and then we have, I mean, then it's not as much of a lead generating activity as it could be if they were doing some of these things here 7 days before. Now, if we go down the list here on the breakthroughbroker.com, you can see door knocking with open house and door hangers. Some areas do not, obviously don't go through an apartment complex that says no solicitation, or a gated community with no solicitation. You'll get blacklisted for sure, but there are many neighborhoods where you can go and door knock and place door hangers to let people know about the open house. That really should be done a couple days before, letting them know that you're going to be live on the market, or that the open house is going to be this weekend. You can do that a couple days before. Making sure that the home is clean and staged, making sure there's proper photography and that it looks really, really good. Also, in your open house kit, you should have a welcome sign-in sheets, and an open house, some sort of flyer or open house brochure that it talks about the property. There are other things that you can do if you're using our, we have a relationship with a sign, kind of an open house sign company. It's basically high school and college kids that basically put up those open house signs for you for a fee. If you take advantage of that, many of these things can be done that are 2 days before the open house. You'll have your sign-in sheet in your kit already there at the house for you. One of the things I do like, and you should have an open house, I like WFGs. It's like a 4x4 pad, kind of to get feedback. You should at least have some sort of way to collect feedback. You need the name, you need the phone number or an email address. It says name, best way to contact, and the feedback for the seller. This is a way that you can do some sort of easy to check in, but also a way for you as the buyer's agent or the agent that's hosting the open house to collect those opportunities. You need some way to collect the opportunities. If you let it be a free-for-all and people just come and go, they often will not leave that information, which is critical for following up and getting people what they need. And then the day of the open house, you want to make sure you have enough open house signs that direct people into the neighborhood. If you have more than 5 turns, what I mean by 5 turns is you got to go 5 turns to get to your house from a neighborhood, you may not want to do an open house. It may not have enough exposure. Unless you put a ton of open house A-frames out and signage, you're going to have a hard time getting the people to come by your open house. And you may just have maybe 1 or 2 that come because of a Zillow or an online posting. In order to have people see your open house signs, you got to have a lot of them. And when I mean a lot, you need at least 10 to 15 to make those turns and those directions. If you pay a sign company to do that for you, you'll have enough that will direct people to your open house that you'll actually have people, when you ask them, how did you hear about the open house? They'll actually tell you from the signs. If you're not having that kind of exposure, maybe you're only having, from Zillow or from Redfin or from a website, then you're probably not doing enough exposure socially or on, having signs at the locations, the critical locations, the turn points that you need. The day of the open house, I love it when agents run a Facebook Live ad. That's awesome. You're getting great exposure, not only showing that you're in the field and you're an active real estate agent to your friends and your family and the people that know you personally, but it also is, if you run it as an ad, you also can get a lot of exposure that way on the day of the open house. Also, door knocking around the open house, even if the listing agent has done it a couple days before, you may run into different people. That's usually what happens. So door knocking to remind the neighbors about the open house event is not a bad thing to do. The sign company is doing that already. If you look at their, and I'll show you their flyer in a minute. Put up your welcome sign, set up the flyers, your business cards, make sure you have your booty basket ready to go, play some music, having a host at the door, making sure you pull the flyers. Don't have the flyers out in front of the sign. That's a rookie mistake that a lot of agents make, where they have all of the information on the sign. I even have to unscrew, because I do the perma flyer, the one that's like the green flyer that goes on the attached to the sign. when I do an open house and I'm hosting one, I actually physically take down that information, that flyer, that perma flyer from the sign. What you don't want to have is people coming to the sign and getting all the information and not coming into the property. Rookie mistake that a lot of you guys make. So don't do that. Go ahead and take down all the signs and the information, about the property. A sign that says open house that directs them into the property is appropriate, but the flyers need to be taken off. So then, as I go to the next, let me show you guys the next thing, since I alluded to it. Let me show you the company that I love, and you guys have the advantage of, you got First Case, Schultze Real Estate, your answer to super open house processes. If you want traffic to your open house, many of you do and have not taken advantage of this. It's well worth the money. I've paid the $80. I've even paid $85, and I'm never sorry that I've done this. I'm usually the one running ragged the day of, where I failed to prepare, and so they've come through for me every single time. How it works is you call or email them by Wednesday, the week of the open house. They'll confirm that they'll do it for you Thursday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then they'll pick up your signs at your office or at the home, the A-frames or the directionals. They'll pick those up, and the signs will be put out for you and picked up the day of your open house. So one of the things I really do not like, and I despise to do, and it should be fun, but I don't like doing it, especially when the bad weather hits. I'll usually have my kids do it, but this just makes it so much easier. These are high school or college kids that are going around and doing this for me. Schultze Real Estate or Schultze RE is the name of the company, and you can email. I'll give you the email address if you want to email me for that. But they basically will do this for $80 or $85 depending on the location. They'll pick up your signs. They'll place up to 12 directional arrows surrounding your home. They'll give you a guest registry and a pen. Balloons also, they do the balloons, which is really nice. They put 4 at the home and 4 on the directional closest to the home to get more eyeballs on it. They also will make sure that they talk to a neighbor if they're in with your business card. If they're using a sign, on their yard, that they may direct people in. So a lot of this takes a long time to do. If I had to set up signage and do the setup at the house, make sure all the lights were on, the music was turned on, it would take me a good hour to 2 hours to prep. So for that preparation of the takedown and the setup, you pay somebody about $40 to set up and then $40 to take down. It's worth it every time. So if you are one of those people that are just like, I'm kind of opposed to doing open houses because I don't have some support, this is a great option for you to take advantage of the college kids that are doing it for you, or the high school kids. And they, again, like Wednesday, if you plan ahead, they can help you out and get those put up for you. The other thing, the open house welcome sign, there's an example of an open house welcome sign that I've used before. Welcome to your open house, explore and have fun. Imagine yourself living here. Some sort of nice entrance sign that you can put on the front door, or you can put at the entrance with your booty basket and with your sign-in sheets. One of the key things that I like to do is I like to fake it till I make it. So what I do is I have the homeowner, maybe a friend or a family member, fill this out. One of the guest registers or the survey sheets or whatever you're using to check in, you need to have approximately 3 people to do this before your open house kicks off. So if you're paying one of the high school kids, have them tour the house really quick and give some feedback so that you're not the first person that comes in the door is not the first person that fills it out. You'll have a lot more people filling out your registration card, your open house survey sheet, your feedback sheet, whatever you want to call it, will give you the feedback that you need, but you got to start somewhere. So you got to do the fake it till you make it approach and have 3 at least filled out before you get started on your open house. Why do you want to do an open house? It's really a good way to meet new clients. It's a way for you to broadcast, that you're going to do an open house, so you can get more clients. Some of our top agents have also put it on, like I said, Facebook and did Facebook Live. I love seeing that. But you do want to go in onto your matrix. If you don't have an open house scheduled, You'll go right here to your My Matrix, and let's say that I wanted to schedule an open house. I could go in there and make modifications to my listings right from here, and say I wanted to go ahead and do an open house here on this one in Tacoma. So I can click on it, and I should have the rights to adjust it or make the additions. There's places to do the key box, to track who comes and goes through the key box, and to set the key box settings. But you also have the ability to input your listing or adjust your input to include the open house. If you notice here, there is no open house scheduled. So how do you get it to show up? You actually have to go into the inputting, and you have to indicate that you are doing an open house. So you guys won't have to go through these steps here, but let's just say I wanted to go ahead and add an open house. I would go in here to my Two Lake Road, and I would go into Public Open House Brokers Open. There are options here. So you can see Leo did an open house on the 6th, and then she also did one on the September 30th. She puts the time. There also is an option if you're doing something in Tacoma. There is a Brokers Open tour that goes on Tuesdays. Don't forget about that. That's a great way for you to expose your property to hundreds. I've seen upwards of 50 to 100 people of brokers go through your property and give you feedback. So if you have a property in Tacoma right now, or in Lakewood, north end, south end of Tacoma, or Lakewood, University Place, that area of Pierce County, and you still have the property on the market, this is a great way for you to get feedback instantly for your seller and make those adjustments to the open house and to your pricing and things like that will help your seller get more eyeballs on, say, a price reduction or getting a buyer who is interested in a unique property. So you have two different types, Brokers Open or Public Open House. I haven't seen the Brokers Opens well attended in areas. They are in the new construction communities. You might want to talk with the new construction. Say your home is right next to a new construction community. You may want to do a Brokers Open. They list their site office hours as Broker Open. You might want to also have yours going on at the same time as a new home community open house. They will often advertise. One way to kind of look, let's just say I have an open house going on in Tacoma. One thing I like to do just to see what other people are doing is to see what open houses are going on during that same time, to see if maybe I want to go Saturday, maybe I want to go Sunday, maybe I want to do both days. A lot of people ask me, well, how do you know? Well, it's very simple. I just search for it right here under my MLS. I want to search for anything that's a residential property. Let's say I have a property that I know is going to go on the market in Kent. Oops, see, there's my Kent property right now. My phone's ringing. So I want to look at anything that's in Kent, and let's just say 98031 and 98030. Can you put your zip codes or whatever cities you want to go ahead? There are 86 active listings that have an open house scheduled right now, but let's narrow this down. Let's see what's going on this weekend on Saturday. Let's see if I get any hits. There are 3 right now. Let's see if I don't do Saturday, but maybe I just do Sunday. Let's see if I can uncheck this. No, it's going to be funky with me. I want to just do the 14th. Only 2. So let's say I've got 2 and I've got 3 on those 2 zip codes. Kind of could be one or the other. Maybe I want to do it on Saturday. Saturday looks like they're going to have 3 versus Sunday that only has 2. So I would probably say if I had to make a judgment call between Saturday or Sunday on this one in Kent, I probably would go on Saturday rather than on Sunday. So that's one way for you to do a quick check to see what other people are doing. 86 overall. Maybe there's some open houses going on throughout like a Friday night. Again, I could go through and look at these, but really that's a quick way. Just use the MLS and see what's going on in that weekend coming up to see how you want to stage yours in comparison to the competition. The other thing you want to look at before you do your open house is consider it like a trade show. That's a good way to kind of think about your open house. Good advertising for a trade show is at least 2 weeks out. And they do a lot of social media. They do a lot of promotion on social. They talk about the lifestyle more than they do about the bedrooms and the baths. Talk about what the property is already, what kind of lifestyle, what kind of person. You can't use kind of those, this would be great for African Americans or elderly people. You cannot say anything like that, but you can talk about lifestyles. What kind of type of person? The people that like to entertain. You can kind of talk about that lifestyle. Instead of talking about this has 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. People are not drawn to that. They're looking for what type of lifestyle that they are looking for when they're going to go and look at open houses. So make it fun and exciting. If you have giveaways or you're going to involve a lender, this is also another way to expand your reach. Use a lender to kind of help you get the word out. Invite the lender to come as well. If you're going to have a lot of people and you're going to do a good job at promoting it, you're going to expect about 8 to 10 people that are going to come through at a minimum. So if you have 8 to 10 people in a couple hours, it might be helpful to have somebody there with you. It might not be smart to be alone either for security reasons. So you may want to involve a lender. Most lenders I know that would be willing to co-host an open house with you also need a week in advance notice so they can get it on their calendar. When you're doing the open house at the event, what you're going to want to do is also treat it like a trade show. So you don't want to come in and give them a flyer and right away in their face. What you want to do is you want to make them feel warm and make the home feel inviting. Usually make sure the heat is turned on. I've done open houses when it was super cold and people don't stay very long. So you got to make them want to stay in the home longer. You'll have better feedback, and you also may drum up that buyer for you. They also recommend not giving them too much information. Don't tell them. What you want to say is, what can I tell you about the house? That's the number one question I'm going to ask somebody touring the property. They won't have the open house, and the first thing they're going to say is, what's the price? You can answer that question. You say, well, it's currently listed at $350,000. But what else can I tell you about the property? What type of home are you looking for? You treat them as a buyer lead. The only difference really from the buyer leads that we talked about several weeks ago is that they're right in front of you. So you want to let me tell you about the property. What can I tell you about it? And walk them through the house and have them envision themselves living there. Well, what else do you know about the property? Well, the owners have lived here for 20 years. They've really kept it up. Those personal connections you can make with that prospective buyer, what you can tell them about the property, they're going to love that. They don't care about the bullet points. When they leave the property, you can give them a flyer or a brochure and a takeaway with your business card on it so that they can also, reach out to you if you have questions, but you're really trying to understand what they're looking for to identify whether this property meets their needs. So introduce yourself. Don't shake their hands unless they initiate it. I think that's a little too formal. Really make them feel comfortable. Introduce yourself. You can shake hands. You can don't shake their hands. But if they go, if they initiate it and you kind of go towards the door and it feels natural, go ahead and do that. You can give them your business card and tell them, they can text you if they have questions. Say you're working with somebody, you can give them your business card and then kind of let them tour and kind of tour the home. You can say some of the finest values come on the market and are sold even before the sign goes up. So if a fantastic property comes to my attention, I would be happy to give that information to you. You can reach me 24 hours a day by just calling or texting my phone number, making them feel really comfortable that you're not the pushy type of agent. You can even tell them, I'm not the pushy sales agent. Go ahead and start touring the property and I'll be right with you. Those are kind of makes them feel comfortable. Think about how you feel when you tour, you go and you tour Nordstrom's. People are going to introduce themselves to you. They're going to make you feel warm and comfortable, but they're not going to be, this home has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it's really, they're not going to be that type of way. They're going to say, well, what can I help you with? What can I tell you about the house? Or what can I tell you about the property? That's a much better way to approach the conversation. Don't be afraid of silence. Sometimes silence is golden. You can tell that they really respond well if you do not talk a lot. Once you have them signed in, get out of the way and let them really walk the house. If the house is not a good fit for them, you can tell, oh, it's too much money. You can say, let me match you to some other properties that may be on the market. If you've done a good job, and see, I'm not putting up signs, I will have spent 30 minutes before my open house knowing what other open houses are going on, and also knowing what other active properties that do not have open houses are on the market as well. Because as a good buyer's agent, you know your inventory, and you know that if it's, their price range, say, is not going to be 350, it's going to be 300. I'm going to know that what house is on the market in that area that is 300. And I'll say, hey, there's a property I know of that is under 300, that is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Would you like to go see it? They're like, absolutely. Let me go ahead and get your name and your number. Did you fill in the sheet? They'll say, yeah, I filled in the sheet. Well, I'll text you as soon as I get done with the open house with a time where we can go tour that property. Does that work for you? And everybody's going to say yes. They want to get out to as many properties as possible so they can understand the marketplace. And if you have something that they don't have access to, or you're willing to go show them something later that evening or after the open house, most of the time they're going to commit to you because you're proactive. You're the agent that's going to actually get them into more properties. You can also post your open house on Craigslist. I have had agents do that, and they've had great success. When they're going to go ahead and do, an open house, one of the key things that I used to do when I was door knocking is I'd say, hi, my name is Rochelle. As you know, we have a home across the street that we are helping to market. We're going to have an open house tomorrow or today if I'm doing the door knocking. The blank family will be gone for the day, and I want to make sure I have enough goodies. If you would like to stop by, it's really a great value. If you have a friend, or do you have a friend or family member that might be interested? I wanted to invite you personally to come over and take a look. And then I could go and tour them through. I'm not going to get in trouble for that. It's just getting one neighbor into the neighbor's house ahead of time. I know that the MLS would consider that pre-marketing, but you know what? When you're talking about neighbors and them seeing what's going on in the market, they feel really connected to the community. And really, it's their neighbor, their neighbor is inviting them to come to their open house, or making sure that they can get early access that will make them feel comfortable so they're not wasting your time. That's a great idea that a lot of you have done and have worked really well. Make sure that you also have a binder with, there's the title companies offer this. It's called a home book. That binder has information that has saved me a ton of time, where I might be working with another client that's coming through the open house. That next client that may have come in and signed in and checked in will be flipping through the binder. That basically is an opportunity for you to have a conversation. Oh, so good that you were able to check in. Do you have any questions for me? What can I tell you about the property? And they're flipping through. They're trying to gather information about the property, but they are looking for the personal information. They're looking for that personal touch, and for you to ask them questions about their home search. How's it going? What other homes have you toured? That's a great question that you can ask. Those are some of the things that I would do when you have people coming through your property. Most people want to breeze through without talking to the agent. So the refreshments, if you do decide to do some treats, it will slow them down. If you have coffee or if you have cookies, homemade cookies are great, that are cooked or baked right in the oven. It gives you that nice fresh cookie smell. Those will slow people down. If you don't use disposable cups, that also will slow people down. So if you have a homeowner that has some coffee cups or glasses where you can actually I know it takes some time to actually clean up, but that will also slow people down from just taking a swig and then throw it in the garbage and then they're on their way. So think about that, of how you set the ambiance when you do an open house to get people to stay in the property longer and ultimately get that property moved and off the market. But ultimately, you're trying to get them to connect with you so you can either sell them that house or sell them another house that's in the neighborhood or in the near vicinity. Many people start their search at doing open houses, and so you'll collect a lot of information about them and their family or their situation, about what they're looking for. You'll hear their grumblings, you'll hear about their complaints about their current agent. If you listen well, if you ask really good questions, you will do really well at doing open houses. Drive the area before. If you're doing your own signs, drive the area before. Display about 15 signs within a 0.1 radius. You can do a radius search and kind of map it out, plan where the signs should go ahead of time, and then make sure you're asking permission to put the signs on private properties. I have had people call me on the weekend. Yes, I do get phone calls on the weekend from unhappy clients who didn't get permission, or you didn't get permission to put your open house sign. And they happen to call my phone number, because my phone number is the one that goes on that sign. And that doesn't look so good. After the listing or after the open house has been done, that's a great opportunity for you to send thank you cards, to write personal thank you cards or personal emails to the people that attended with the more information you promised to send them, with the Form 17 disclosure that you may want to send them after the fact. You may want to give them that information in an email so you can gather that email address, and hey, the seller would be happy to send you more information, their seller's disclosure. If you would be so kind to go ahead and fill out your email address, I will go ahead and email everyone after the open house with those seller's disclosures. That's a good way for you to collect if you're having trouble getting their email address, that's a great way to get that information to them. Or any information that you deem pertinent, you've discussed, maybe a flyer, or maybe some information that you're providing that's not provided on the MLS. Maybe it's a seller's letter. I've had a seller write a letter about what they love about the property, and I've provided that to the buyer, to the prospective buyer after the open house. That goes really, really well, where it's thank you so much for touring my personal residence, and the seller has written a little love letter back to the buyers. Have done that before as well. Unique and outstanding things that will set you apart is what you're looking for when you're going to do an open house. I think we covered everything I wanted to. What can I tell you about the house? I gave you that. Signage, we talked about. Oh, lender participation. Lenders have the ability to quote rates and can take applications, and they can put up signs for you, and they can put up flyers, and they can also meet and greet. Having a really good lender support you makes all the difference in the world. If you're not an outgoing person that will do an open house, you may want to find an outgoing lender who will also participate with you, and they will love doing it with you if they are seeing a ton of traffic coming through. That's their opportunity to connect with more people as well. And I think we covered everything. So with that, I'll let you guys go. Hopefully this was helpful in giving you some pointers, maybe some refreshers for some of you who have done open houses. But just reach out and ask if you have questions. Sometimes the best questions are posted on our BCR Facebook page. We are seeing less people come to open houses, so you need to be more strategic and really take advantage of the people you do have that come through. If you have about, like I said, 7 to 10 people come through and one open house, that's great results. We were at the height of the selling season, we were having 50 in Seattle if the open houses were properly signed and properly advertised. Now it's dwindled down. Now we're getting about 7 to 8, maybe 20 people that come through a properly placed open house. And that's because of all of the preparation and the hard work that you're doing ahead of time. So continue doing what you need to do to get the attendance, and have a great week, you guys. And also help each other out on the BCR Facebook. If you need an open house person to sit the open house, or if you are looking to sit an open house, just continue to post on the BCR Facebook page, and we'll try to put you in touch with those agents that need help in doing open houses. Have a great week. We'll talk to you guys soon.